at the game and I look at the eye test. And obviously, it's hard to do that for every team all the time.
Yeah.
Like it would just take way too much time. But you know, over time you get more experienced and you see things like here and there that give you like a thumbs up, or this is still like pretty shaky the way teams are winning rounds, because you need to look at what are they doing, like their idea, does it make sense or not, right? And if it doesn't make sense and they win rounds and they keep winning, I'm like, all right, but can they like keep doing this, right? But if what they're doing makes sense and then they end up losing because of this or that, I'm like, okay, this team has, that's why you and me like playing gaming in Malta,
Yes.
right? Because like what they were doing made sense. On top of that, some players played well and
some good rounds.
we
Pain
thought they
Gaming
were
is such
going,
a tragedy.
yeah,
What the fuck is going on over there?
Doesn't matter now. Let's not worry about the dead. Let's move on to the future. No, seriously though, who cares? Like,
I think what you're saying is very indicative of like it is the scoreline actually an indicator of what happens in the game. Sometimes you can have like
Sure.
team six, but maybe it didn't actually be like that. Maybe one of the team won a hell of a lot of clutches that
That's why the round
table
timeline's
turn
good.
one day. Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
And I think that's an important thing to touch upon when you're actually looking at it. So, okay, this might seem like on the surface that it was a blow up, but actually here's a load of rounds where things really tight, and if certain things have gone a certain way, then we might be looking at it. I'm sure they might not want. I think it's important to
yeah, no, well, there's like, see, that's the thing. Like, those moments are always possible. I like what Yanko was talking about there with the, like, where he's drawing the line for what is a positive reinforcement of a team in the match, right? For me, it starts as basic as this. Like, you can get yourself to probably be like a top 30 team in the world, maybe even top 20 team in the world, if just against some of these better, actually, like a top 20 team in the world, if you can establish map control and not get bullied. If on the T side you can do a default, establish map control, and not just get pushed and fucking fisted every round because they're confident against you and they know they're better individuals, that for me is step number one. Just get map control on a default.
if you have at least one or two good players, so if you don't have 5 players who are all not very good, you can coach your team into the top 30.
Okay,
You can
need
coach
two,
a team.
two high caliber players. Is what
Not
you're
even
saying.
high caliber, just guys who can like sometimes frag and get you a couple of kills that they shouldn't. You know what I mean? Like, not have a Nico in the rough on that team or something like that. Just have,
Isn't Navi the 30th ranked team right now?
Yeah, okay.
Yeah,
well, come on, let's not.
you know what I mean?
Oh,
It's
we,
like
we can't tell jokes
on
this
that-
time? Like, what the fuck?
no, we just can't tell bad jokes. But
This
So-
guy over here today.
Yeah,
So-
he's had some good jokes.
Kassad,
He's
the
had some
UK,
good
and
jokes.
He's had a
Jason.
couple. Just
so it's like I really believe that you can get into the top 30 because from the 30th to the 60th, 70th, 100th team in the world, like good fundamentals and like good team play and stuff can just, even with having worse players, it can get you over that line. After that, individual skill becomes more
differentiating
important,
factor.
right?
Okay.
And adds an extra.
Yeah, well, that's the thing when I watch a team like Reyna, for example, against certain teams that have a difficult time just establishing people map control, right? And they're out here trying to do all this stuff and they're having enough. You just can't get bullied by it. That's the thing I'm looking at, is that you cannot get bullied by, you're going to get bullied by top 5, right? But if you cannot get bullied all the time and you can fend off probably the better part of the field, that's what is a good start, at least in
A part of it is what was like the meta shifts a lot.
this name dropping thing definitely has accelerated more.
Yeah, one of the things is as well is like a team like Greyhound is always lagging behind the meta, like
Yes.
at least a little bit. Not because they're from Australia, but any team that's like there. Why? Because they're watching other teams play and do stuff.
And not
And
experiencing
I'm
it.
so the way I'm trying to phrase this is like they're copying that stuff, and even now at this level, like they're good enough to sort of understand, like when they see something from FaZe, why is FaZe doing that at that time against this? Like they can even grasp that as well, but they're still like copying that, right? Like and in a sense of like on the other side, teams like FaZe and Pro, they're the ones establishing the meta, right? So when they come up against a team like that, it's not like, oh, they have our moves, so we just know how to counter that. It's not that. It's more that they understand, like they know what Greyhound thinks is very strong right now, because they've seen it from them and other teams. So that's why I always say my favorite thing about CS is nothing is OP. Everything has a counter to everything. The trick is getting the read on what your opponent is. If you can get a good read on what they're doing and have good information, you can counter them. And another thing that I love is you can counter them, but still individuals can overcome that, right? Like so, and I think that's what every sport competition, anything you watch has to have that. Like it has to have a team sport or team play. It has to have that, but then you want to have moments where someone transcends the game, right? Because that's what makes it awesome to watch. So I think in this example, like that's what you have there. It's like that's what allows a team like FaZe to play with confidence and comfort against a team like Greyhound, because you know they're playing FaZe's game, or not necessarily, but they're trying to play that game from those teams. Great example is also Thomas coming to reach at the major. You know, he said, yeah, we're playing a little bit different because we know we can't beat these teams playing like proper Counter-Strike. They're just better. And you know, we want to play that way one day, but right now if we want to win, we have to do some weird shit. I fucking love that, because that's 100% true. And it got them into the playoffs of the major where no one even expected them to be at the major at all. You know, so that gives you the. And I'm not saying Greyhound needs to do that. Probably a little bit less than it could reach into, but you have to do that when you have, you know, lesser players, unfortunately, and also less opportunities to some extent and all of that stuff.
Yeah, what did you feel as well as British Pride maybe?
Brexit's actually punched it out of those.
No, it really has. You know, ECS London was it was a high point. It was Brexit that like people had voted for it, and I was like, you know what?
It
I
felt
don't
like
see
it was
the
never
future,
gonna
I don't
happen.
see the-
Yeah.
They'll go back on it, and they didn't. And now, not that into the breach of obviously from Brexit, but it feels sweet.
Okay.
I don't feel any.
Okay.
It's kind of funny when I see UK videos, but I understand why you would do that.
But that's interesting to me because, like, man, I always ask Alex or Henry, do you feel British or English as well, right? Because it is a union, it's a United Kingdom of Northern Ireland, Wales.
I don't know, mate.
And
Yeah.
what I've learned also for you
Look at
guys
the
out
three
there,
names for
what
that
I've
part of the
learned,
world.
no one feels British or English. I'm from London, mate. Like if you're from London, London is a country in its own, right? Like you never,
like LA.
where are you from? And no one says like, oh, England or UK. They say London, you know.
No,
That's
it's true. Yeah, even when I wasn't from London, it was 20 minutes down the road. It's like, you know what? It's easy.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, it's funny because I'm not shaped with being British to any country. Like if you have a connection to heritage, I guess, then that's
Jingoistic feel.
great. But I just don't. I don't know. It's one of the factors we can't control about ourselves. Like none of us control where we were born. Why do I have any connection to that? It's one thing I didn't choose.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I
Yeah,
don't
but
know,
as a
it's too deep.
patriot,
But
I will say that, for example, because it's your ancestors, right, and it's your family, like your mother or grandfather have you know, done things or participated in things that would make you proud,
True.
right? Like just speaking, you know, from Serbia has been through a lot of wars, 2 world wars, all of that stuff, grueling campaigns, and there were a lot of heroic feats by, you know, our army or whatever, and like, so that makes you proud, like knowing that people stood up, you know, when it was whatever dire times. So that also probably, I mean, not probably, but certainly makes me feel super ashamed at the moment, like where we are now, and it makes you think that, you know, those people would be rolling in their graves and all of that stuff, which is
That's true.
sad. But you know, I do feel a sense of pride for being Serbian because of you know, we sort of always stood up against aggressors, greater evil, whatever it is, or however you wanna call it. Like we had honor and
Dignity.
dignity, and, you know,
The
all
American
that,
knows all these
you
things.
know, all that stuff. And even though we suffered a lot through history under different, whatever, occupations, regimes, and all of that stuff, we still persevered. And it's a small country, a small people, right? And we, I want to say we left our mark. Doesn't mean anything. It doesn't matter at all. But it's just like, I think for me more than anything is like, I am proud of the sort of, let's say, men or people we were once.
Sure.
Unfortunately, and you know, like I'm proud of that. I'm proud of my heritage, and you know, I'm hoping, you hope that we could not regain like some of that, because it's not looking good.
Got some baller ass nightclubs with folk music too.
Yeah, that as well.
That's one of the
it
things
really
he's
makes me
That's
proud.
one of the things he's proud of is the
Yeah.
obviously the folk music.
I'm proud of that, of the Serbian people for having that.
For the folk music.
That was one of my favorite nights I've had in Eastport, was going to that Serbian folk music club.
Was it an Esports event you were there for?
No, I just went and visited Yanko in the middle of Pro League one year.
So you just had it in life, Jason. You didn't have it in Esports.
Didn't have it in Counter-Strike.
There it is. It's a callback. It's a
Oh.
callback. Not bad, Jason. Not bad. There it is.
Dump that bad boy up.
That does open my mind a little bit. Because I think about like my grandma. She's so alive, she's 94, she was 10 when the war started. And it's like, yeah, she's still there, you know? And she persevered through that. She is a real good role model. But then I guess I don't know anybody.
I mean, I don't know that either. I think for me, it's actually more about World War One, actually, really. But not to get into, you know, history side of all of that. It's just like I felt like it's
Let's do it.
no. I mean, like I don't want to go to, you know, this talk
Whoa,
about
whoa,
you know, and
whoa.
like the
World War One.
and no, like in the Balkan campaign in World War One. I mean, we kicked it off,
Yeah.
sort of, but
Black
that,
Hand,
but that,
yeah.
but that was just an excuse for everyone to go to war with each other.
Yeah.
Anyway, no, but just like sort of, yeah, no, just standing up and like knowing for a fact, you know, how the attitude and the resolve of these people, all of it was like young men, like younger than I am now.
Sure.
Like there's a famous story in the street, I think it was 3,000? No, 1,600, like so 1,600.
Way back in history,
No,
yeah.
no. 1,600 men.
16.
No. This was before the World War One. 1,600 of the brightest, like young minds who sent abroad to study it. So born in Paris, in London, like to the best universities, like the government, where they were supposed to be the bright minds of tomorrow for the country, you know. But then World War One breaks out. They get them all back. They give them the rank corporal immediately in the army. They put them in the military because you needed everyone. And I think like 50 survived out of 1,600.
Jesus.
Shit.
We lost 2/3 of our adult male population in World War I.
I don't know that. That's a big number.
We got some statistics here as well.
So it's, you know, like the people have been through a lot, but
Yeah,
through all of
yeah,
that,
yeah.
it was like people always answered the call, you know, and like we were always on the good side, even though we
As the
ended up
history
getting
books
fucked
are
somehow.
written.
Yeah, you know.
Do you
like-
think the attitude has stayed the same? I think that's maybe where the big difference in the UK is then and now is like just the attitude of UK and England is very different. Like there's not as much like respect.
Oh yeah.
Like it's
The
kind of
value
gone a different
system, the
way.
value system is completely like upside down, probably.
Yeah.
And I think this is a problem in a lot of the modern world. Is like things have happened so fast, moved up so fast that people have forgot about, you know, what's really important in life to some extent. You know, like people care a lot more about likes and followers and shit like that. And what's only comment on the photo rather than the actual relationship that you have. Are they meaningful or are they not meaningful? So this person that's like picking you up saying, yeah, you go girl and all this shit, like when actually like you've got into some problem, will they be there for you? Like, are they your true friend or are they just like whatever, you know.
Is
And
this worse for the younger generation, you think? Like now? Is this a thing that exists now for the younger people? Because I don't have, like, I kind of, I know what you're saying, Yanko, about like the general, this would be like a general consensus type situation. I think a lot of people might look at everybody being very into these things, and as you're saying, social media driven and on the internet all the time. And like when I'm at home, I'm on the computer a lot, but I'm playing Counter-Strike, right? So for me, like I'm not out there looking for like that type of validation, right? But there obviously is like a generation of people who there was or is still. So like, I don't know, it's like it's a problem? Like is it a problem in schools and shit? Like what are we...
Know anything about it.
Exactly, like I
Yeah.
can't dip into any knowledge base of this.
schools are a problem in itself.
Fuck the
They're
education
all
system.
outdated.
This podcast
We're going into a
is-
weird place.
Yeah, I'm
I don't
sorry
even-
to. You just asked me about Into the Breach.
I
By the
know.
way, I love Into the Breach. No shame.
Yeah.
This is how we do it.
I'm not
You
even
never
trying
know.
to throw my hat in this ring. I don't want any part of this conversation.
No, well, I look. I don't,
Yeah, of course you don't want to talk about fucking education.
Healthcare. Next topic.
Where's France? Oh, Sydney.
fucking hell. Oh dear. We've had an array of.
Bring us
topics.
back in, Chad.
Well, we don't have to do count.
You know, Chad, I remember what you were going to be playing with us in this
I got a neck pillow for a gift.
Yep.
Brilliant.
Oh, the stickers. This is also the same significant number.
lovely.
So yeah, I got all the good stuff.
And your parents pretty cool.
Yeah, that blue box right there is full of. This is actually something we could do. Could you grab that, Brad? The blue box behind me. And actually, yeah, if Yanko holds the microphone temporarily, and we can. Yes, so I wanted to see what, because the Brits have a lot of similar stuff. So what I received was some receipts with multi.
Oh God, not the Maltese. I love them.
Okay, so
Make a slam.
yes, so people were saying that in the UK you have the Freddo Frog, but you don't have a Caramello Koala. Is this true?
That is very true. Also, Freddos. Oh my lord, how much cooler they sound.
Bro, this gum still
This used to be
exists.
5p. Now
Is this the
you
best
buy
shit,
it for
Chad?
25p.
Is this good shit?
Caramello Koala is pretty good. Yeah, Cadbury chocolate is great, but they were bigger, right?
Isn't that racist
Way
towards
bigger.
koalas?
Yeah.
We love eating
And way
koala.
cheaper. Like you can see inflation by Freddo Frogs.
Okay.
You can make a couple Tim Tam slams.
Yeah, so you have regular. This is in the UK. We share cherry ripe. Fucking suck. I don't know why my parents sent me cherry ripe. That right there tells me they didn't
You
pack
probably
this box.
you probably liked cherry ripe when you were
Never,
6 years
never.
old.
I love them dearly. My dad likes cherry ripes. I've never liked a cherry ripe. The things that are great here though, shapes are absolutely banging. These are savoury, right? These
Oh
are
my God.
These feel like Australian cheese whips.
maybe.
Or maybe Cheez-Its are American shapes.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
the fact you're gonna turn your head to look at the name says it all, doesn't it?
So this is the thing. You don't have Milo, and you can do. No,
No,
you okay, you put it in a drink. It's
Milo
like
is a tweenie.
it's
Is
kind
it
of
a
like
little
a
like protein
chocolatey
shake
thing.
powder almost?
So you guys like have same stuff but different
Similar,
names.
kind of like
Oh, that's
Twisties.
like Nesquik.
So
Yeah,
like
yeah.
Okay.
Oh, we have Nesquik as well. This is kind of like a. I think I have it in New Zealand and stuff as well.
Twisties are
Okay, so
Yeah.
you have those. We all have salt and pepper. Do you have a version of Burger Ring?
rings. No.
Does that actually taste like a burger?
No, not really, but they're pretty good. You can smash some of those. But you have Wagamore. Okay. From Arnott. Do you have Arnott biscuit? Okay.
Well, I mean, maybe.
Interesting.
I don't eat them. I don't really like them.
Alright, no, that's fair enough.
You
That's
like
fine. I don't like
Vegemite
Wagamore so much either.
I do like Vegemite. Yeah.
It's
This-
got better consistency than Marmite.
And this one has B vitamins for vitality.
There it is.
I'll
Yeah.
give it to Vitality.
Vitality should be sponsored by Vegemite. It also starts with a V.
Do they add B vitamins into this, do you think? Or
Well, maybe they should. I think Vegemite's big enough company to probably just get away with
And
it.
it's also vitamin B.
Which we would be done without.
The beehive,
Yeah,
Jason.
If
speaking
we
of
don't
really
have
good
the
jokes.
bees, we would be fucked, right?
yeah, I know. I want to get a B vitamin.
Alright, should we
Yeah.
talk?
For pollination.
He's not even joking.
No,
Not
I
even
love
joking.
that. Bees are great.
Yeah.
Second favorite animal.
Next year's the chicken coop.
What's the first?
Capybaras, 100%.
Ah,
That's what I'm
capybara.
I'm actually gonna make a
Also
sign
that-
with
yeah.
chicken fucking coop on it.
Okay, and the kid's gonna say, Dad, can we go down to the chicken fucking
I'm gonna
coop?"
do like the whole exclamation point,
Okay.
star,
Okay,
question
okay.
mark, you know.
yeah. So how long do you? By what age will they realize?
Again,
like,
this is one of those parenting decisions that I have in my head right now, but in the
I
actual
still love it.
application,
Be a
I'm
test of how
gonna
smart
get
they are.
talked off the ledge.
Yeah, they'll go, Dad, can we go down to the chicken F exclamation point hashtag
But I feel like-
underscore.
I feel like you have a few of those years when your kid was like 3 years old. It's funny. It's funny.
Well, I don't have to follow it. It's not my kid. So it's up to you, Jason. You
So I'm
can
just
teach
saying,
your kid
if
whatever they
one
want.
or two
You want to
blurt
hear
out.
a funny story?
About
I think
swearing kids?
I'll be able to translate this so that it is funny in English as well.
Is it
So
about a
I'm
donkey
like
stuck in the mud?
No, I'm like 4 years old, right? And we were at this 5. I don't know. I'm young, and we were at this ski resort in Serbia, right? And it's like me, my mom, my dad, and one more family, like friends, and their kids, and we were at this like, nice hotel, nice restaurant, right? And at dinner, soup comes in. I guess I didn't finish the soup, right? So the waiter is in, and he's like, "Oh, why doesn't the nice boy want to finish the soup?" I'm like, "I don't want to." Why doesn't the nice little boy want to finish the soup? I'm like, "I don't want to finish the soup." Oh, why won't the little boy like just finish his soup? It's like, I don't want to finish the soup, you fucking cocksucker motherfucker. It's like, and my parents are like, what? Like, where did you hear this? And that friend, the other family, the father, my mom they worked together, and he was teaching me all the bad words, like when they weren't around, right? So I just repeated random words that I heard from him, like it didn't even make sense like that. I was just saying like, go fuck yourself in some weird way. Where is like looking at me?
I feel like I'm on
You
the
know, my dad is
EPL
obviously
break
obviously
bumper
dad
again.
is laughing, mom is like embarrassed. You know, and it's like, alright.
The whole time that story, I was just thinking Seinfeld, that no soup for you. Have you seen you soup?
Yeah, I love Seinfeld.
Yeah, it's great.
Freya and I ate a meal. Who was with us that night? There were like 5 or 6 of us that went out for dinner in Lisbon. And we found this random place, and the food was horrible.
Really?
It was nobody liked their meal. Not a single person enjoyed the food they had.
It was such a busy night that we just couldn't find anywhere to go, and it should have been a red flag.
Yep.
That place was free and open.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, like we tried 5 places, none of them were
God,
open.
what did we have? It was so whack.
It was so bad, all of it. So like we finally got the check, like, yeah, we're done, we're all set, we're full, blah blah blah. And all of our plates were like 80% full. And the chef came out.
Oh, I
The
forgot.
chef came out at the end of the meal after we paid the bill because the plates came back and all the food was still on it. He's like, "Did you guys like not like your food?" And it was like, "No, man, it was great. We were just so full." Like, we were just
Really
So
big
this
portion.
was a restaurant with a chef,
Yeah,
and the
yeah.
food was still dog
I would
shit.
call him
Every
a
restaurant has a chef.
Cook. No,
No,
I
some
would
have
call him a
cooks.
cook more than a chef.
Wait, what?
Yeah.
A chef, you have to be qualified.
Ah, okay.
Chef knows what he's doing.
I feel you now, yeah.
Yeah, a cook.
He's just cook.
Everyone gets to cook.
But I don't have a
Maybe
problem.
just
Like,
heat
I
it
don't
up.
have a problem with that shit. Like,
We're all cooks.
I don't have a problem with sending food back and doing all of that
Telling
stuff.
Blair to fuck off.
This wasn't one of those kinds of restaurants where you send it back.
No, I know, no. I'm just saying, like, when he came over, he said, like, "Mate, this is just terrible." Like,
Oh yeah.
I mean, actually, maybe not. Like in a different, because it's just not worth the bother. Because how does that conversation go? It's like, "Oh, did you guys not like the food?" And then if I was really annoyed, I would have said, "What do you think? You just came here to not eat at
Yeah.
the restaurant?" Like, maybe not even say it that way, but like, yeah, no. And then he would be, "What's wrong with it?" Like, bro, I'm not a fucking cook. I'm not a fucking chef. I don't know. It does taste like shit. It's like, oh, but is this taste that taste? It's like, what's the point? Like, you just don't like the taste. Like, I can understand when something isn't up to my taste. Like, oh, I don't like it that
If it's
way.
objectively
But then I
bad.
shouldn't have ordered that.
Sure.
Yeah.
But if it's like fucking just bad, it's just like some shit is wrong. Like, I'm not Maui. I'm probably the opposite of Maui.
Yeah.
Like, you can go into such detail about, oh yeah, this is
Oh,
like,
dude, he lives deep in the food critical.
Oh,
and then
yeah.
it's like, bro, I don't even know what you're talking about. Like, I eat,
tastes good,
I
it's good.
chew. Does this taste good? Yeah, it's good. Tummy likey, and
Tummy like
I don't think I've ever heard Yanko
I
say
never
tummy
expected
before.
those words out of his mouth.
That is insane.
Tummy like
That right there. That's something special. We
I'm
need
full of surprises.
we clipped
And you
that.
thought you were in a good mood.
We clip that. We put that. It's the wine. He's going the wine route.
Yeah, he's
you know?
white
So
wine as
it's,
Still got a whole nother bunch.
Yeah, man, we're just getting started.
well,
here.
we do have to go to work tomorrow, but you said it was a good work time.
Yeah, we have like 11:45.
Yeah, so it's still very early. This is very responsible.
Yeah.
The biggest issue we're going to have is uploading the podcast on 19 meg.
I think what I'm gonna do is log you into the AI site, because there's no reason for you to upload it to me to download it to then upload it
I
back
have a
to the
I
AI
have a
site.
cheeky suggestion.
Here we go. I like
We reach out to one of the teams that like us and ask them if we can do it from the platform. I imagine they have better internet.
All right, when we're done talking to that one team, what do we do?
Pay the other team. Bribe the other team.
the other option is when we go in tomorrow, we upload it tomorrow.
You're doing it through your laptop, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's his laptop.
I'll plug
I
it in.
also feel
Probably
like
be faster.
Jason's been talking too much this podcast and hasn't really let Freya express herself.
Okay.
And he does this really often where he doesn't let the guests talk enough and always talks over them, interrupts them. And
Yeah.
it's really annoying.
My bad.
I could never do something
Well, we
like
have
that.
been reading about it
I could-
incessantly in the comments.
I could- I could-
It's been absolutely out of control.
I could never do something like that. So I
Jason,
wanna-
the dictator O'Toole.
I want to hear more from Freya this podcast.
What would you like to hear, Jan?
I was thinking about a question and I was like,
That whole time while you
No,
were
do
just
it.
rambling some bullshit.
yeah, and it's like it's really bad. I don't have anything.
You've already done origin story. You got no questions left.
Yeah, but
I
it's
have
like,
my one thing.
Yanko, here's the thing, though. I suppose that you guys.
Wait, what is it, Freya, that you hate the most in doing a CS broadcast or just a broadcast?
Other than the people.
Other than why are you pointing at me, you little shit?
I wasn't pointing. My hand was
It's
I
an
know
open
for a
gesture.
fact she hates someone else more.
gesticulating.
Wait,
Jason.
why are you saying that? What do I hate? That's a horrible question.
Well, that's a great question for the listeners
Well,
slash viewers.
I guess, yeah.
Yeah, they love hearing Talon bitch about talking about video games.
Could
I
I
mean,
s-
technical issues? Does that count?
Yeah, we could soft morph it.
That's a terrible answer. You don't have to be scared to say like I hate when the producer talks into my ear. They all listen to this because they know I ream them out. So.
Chad, you had a suggestion?
It was a soft morph.
It really is a terrible question then.
of Yanko's positioning here. What is the worst technical issue you've experienced on a
Oh
broadcast?
god, do I have a
See, there we go.
Okay.
Nice, Chad.
So,
You do this for a living.
we're at the first major battle.
Oh yes, indeed. Okay, yes. All right.
Been brought in just for
Yep.
stage hosting. It's not my best role to take, but I'm like, got to do the trophy walkout with Get Right. That was amazing. Proper bucket list moment. And then we obviously do pre-game interviews and the team instructions, which is also really fun. Get to like scripts and shit, like make it kind of cool. I can't remember who it was for. It was Gambit and somebody else.
Navi.
One of the
Gambit.
Was it Navi?
They played them in the semis.
Oh, yeah, they only. Yeah. Okay. Oh, maybe it was. No, I think it was Gambit NIP.
Yeah, that was.
Gambit
the-
played the quarters.
Yeah,
Yes,
they played
it was early. It was early in the day. And no shade to the audio guy. Kind of is a start, but
No shade, but
Okay,
fuck
yeah.
him.
yeah.
But
Yeah.
he can be nice and still make it.
Exactly. Yeah, professional. Has the microphone. This is great. Go out on the like T bit of the stage. Spotlight comes on. Good. Probably be about 2 minutes. So just back on standing there, obviously, kind of nerve-wracking. Seeing all these people
Yeah, yeah,
looking at
just
you
staring
and
at
like actually sweating.
Okay.
Sure.
Yeah.
But it's
Okay.
just
Okay. Sure.
And then producer was like, "Hey, we're coming to you. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1." I start speaking. Nothing is coming through my ear. Nothing's coming through the actual arena sounds. It's like, "Okay, I'm probably not going up." I am. Like,
Exactly what you should do. as
yes,
well.
yeah. There's nothing worse. So do a gambit on stage, and I was like, maybe run on with it. So road and I presume that means you should go out and carry on. That wasn't the right thing to do, because it goes back to Richard, and then I start fucking talking and announcing the second team, and it was just such a mess. Clearly there was no communication between anybody. Yeah, that was it.
And as a stage host too, like when you do that segment where it's just like you in the crowd essentially, like
Yeah.
you in a camera that's live, you can't talk back because you're on camera and you're the
Exactly.
only thing that can be on camera.
No talk back on the mics as well.
And
so
just your head is just like spinning in like a million ways of like, oh, what do I do? How long do I have to do this for? Is the issue even fixed?
Right, and helps to have someone like an Ollie, right? Like a stage manager making
Yes.
sure that they're ready and raring to
Yeah.
go.
Or a
to-
competent audio guy.
Well, yeah, like
It's funny because that event also had Jason's biggest technical issue. Or just issue, I guess. Not really technical.
Jason's full of them.
More personal, actually.
All of everyone at least.
But now he.
Sip.
At least we're not talking about formats yet.
yeah.
Nah, this is not. It's not gonna be in this one. It's
We're
not.
not doing it.
There's no point. There's no point.
I've had an issue like that. I remember I did the MIBR launch. I worked it down in Sao Paulo. Right after we did Belo Horizonte.
Oh yeah, I remember you guys going there.
And I flew out to Sao Paulo, and it was like 2 or 3 days of hanging out with like the Brazilians who were waiting for this event like on a Friday. Had a good week. You know, some late nights, but
As you can imagine, very chill.
I was
right?
like-
relaxed time.
I was a
on
little
the
bit
beach.
under the weather. Let's say I was a little like I had like a little bit of a cold I was developing, and it's just it's in front of a Brazilian audience. I'm going out to broadcast, not to the crowd, but it's a Brazilian production house. And I was sat there. I was like, you're gonna do this. You're gonna stand. You're gonna look at the camera. You're gonna announce MIBR walking out. 5 new players. They're gonna walk out on stage and introduce each and every one. And blah blah blah. This whole thing. And I'm just like. Can I just say, can I have like, because they were doing a show match and I was casting with Zeus. I was like, can I have Zeus come with me in case there's like a tech problem, a tech issue, a second person to be able to bounce off to and speak to and ask some questions and get involved. And they're like, no, we just want the one guy for the shot. It's gonna be super quick. And of course it gets to the walkout. And they're like, all right, announce MIBR coming out. And then, oh, no, they're delayed. Wait, you have to fill.
you're doing
And
crowd
it's
work at
me
that
in
point.
front of a camera in an audience of like 500 Brazilians. Room is hot. I'm pouring sweat. And there's like a 10-minute delay where I just have to sit there and on the spot come up with 10 minutes of things to talk about,
10
waiting
minutes
for
is
them
a
to get
long
ready
amount of
to just walk out around the corner. That was a nightmare. It was a nightmare.
Oh, I'm
Listen.
trying to think.
Listen, I will say this. It is like horrible, and the expectations of you to sound coherent at that time are slightly unreasonable. But man, I mean, that's where we make our bank. Like that's why we're
Our job
paid
doesn't start
as
until
much
there's
as
a-
we
until
paid.
there's an
Like
issue.
I am paid as much as I am because when the fucking in the grand final of a major, fucking the screen breaks, we fill for 45 minutes without any preset assets. Actually, something else broke for us, so we couldn't really use like some clips on the Telestrator and all that stuff. So we were just like sort of talking and going through it and doing shit on the fly. And if you go back and watch that whole fill, you would think that was all like
Scripted.
script, like preset, like sort of at the very least that we had in case something breaks here at the top. And you know, like
That's old school.
yeah, that's like it doesn't really happen nowadays at all. They cut to 45 minutes. We filled at the first blast event for 4.5 hours, right? And wasn't as smooth, but we kept people entertained. And obviously back in the day it happened a lot more, but that's where you really sort of put, how do you say,
Happened every
chap from
Weak
The strong
from
from the
the
wheat from the chaff. Right.
Is that the American?
Yeah, we don't really use that.
Even
I don't either, but you guys are used to
The
this.
saying I'd never heard of, so I didn't even contribute it.
just idiom. Skew whip. Is that one that you were
Skew whip?
Skew whip. Okay, you'll give me the same look as Forty did. Skew
Yes.
whip. Yeah.
It's a bit skew it.
No, not a
Okay.
fellow Brit.
Okay. Yeah. Anyway, moving on.
Wait, no, what is it? You have to explain it now.
It's when things are like a little bit off. I mean, something's gone a bit wonky.
Yeah, a bit wonky.
Yeah, a bit wonky. Yeah,
That's-
wonky. Topsy-turvy.
That's
Topsy-turvy, I know.
Yeah. Topsy-turvy. Fuck, anybody I talk about it.
It was just a you thing.
No, my mum really told me, like, hey, inside out, back to front,
Okay.
your cake comes out upside down, everything is just,
We didn't do topsy-turvy. We had
like
crisscross.
opposite day.
Yeah.
I'll make you
There was like a music band, right, called like Crisscross, and they wore the
Was there?
overalls.
Never heard.
What do you have of the fish?
That was pretty good.
I know
though.
this one song. It's like Jump, like something like that. Yeah, crisscross, whatever.
Anyway, no, I
What I had that same thing where like your parent makes up something. So my dad was on some like surf, like this on a fishing with his mother, dad, son, sort of thing. And he was like, "Oh, I'm gonna make you kids today the Azerbaijani omelet." And we were like, "What? What the fuck is that?" And he's like, just basically like. I don't know, put some peppers in it or some shit.
Yeah.
It's like we were 7 or 8, you know, like
That's
whoa,
our entire team.
what the fuck is this? Yeah, so it's like, oh yeah, this is like, well, they made, and he had a whole story made up for it. You know, I'm like, well, fuck.
Oh,
And
there
then
was a
I asked
lore to this
and
omelet.
then I was like, oh yeah, is there? Did you guys ever try the Azerbaijani omelet? Oh, it's so good, you wouldn't believe it.
That's a parenting trick to get the kids to eat
Yeah.
something.
But I love that
Oh, have
shit.
you done that yet?
Not yet.
Doesn't need to.
No.
Kid can't fucking talk.
Yeah. She just started eating
You want
bananas, man.
you want your kid to turn out like me?
God no.
But
Why
then-
not?
That stuff's fun though. Like my uncles are like that. They're always, you know, like making up shit. Like,
Yeah.
you know, that you
Like it's just a game, Chad. It's not gonna hurt.
Jesus, that was fucking dark. Holy shit. Oh, well, okay. Counter Strike. I am Cologne 2023.
Yeah, it's real, ladies and gentlemen. Spotify exclusive here. Brad Spears with us.
Oh, I got an answer to our question
Here we go. What was that question?
from the last episode.
What did we ask?
We were having the conversation of whether it would hurt more to have your ass wax
Or your
or
balls.
your balls wax.
How do you get the
It's
answer?
balls wax.
Or did you do it?
No. But
How did you get an answer?
I get my back waxed.
I have a friend.
So I asked her when I was in there
When you get any, how does she know?
Oh.
because they do manzillions. They call them.
Okay, what is she? Do they
Oh,
surveying
yeah,
patients
Zillion.
after?
I'd
Yeah.
never do that shit.
They
Well,
can-
no, she just says
clients,
like
not
from her
patients.
experience when she's like there's a lot of complaining going around.
Oh.
Right.
I mean, I've asked her. I straight up, I was just like, look, just out of curiosity, to her friend, you know,
The internet.
potentially, if one was to get their balls waxed, how does it work? And she just looked at me. She goes, there's a lot of stretching. And I was like, all right, I'm out. I'm good.
Yeah,
Even apples.
like that. Like waxing doesn't make sense, but epilation,
What?
it's you do it with lasers.
I thought you were talking like the Appalachian
Oh, like
Island.
laser
Okay,
hair.
laser hair removal.
Okay.
Okay, so that's how it's actually
The
called
same
in
thing.
English.
Ah.
I've
But
never
heard of
heard
this.
the word
You
epilation.
can get epilators to use at home.
I've literally never heard the
That's
word.
like the DIY.
I haven't
Okay, so I guess I made up the word because in Serbian depilation is called depilacija and epilation is epilacija, just
No,
without the D.
epilation's a real thing.
So,
100%.
but this is just they do it with a laser and
Sure.
it burns it. So
Okay.
you're supposed to come like depends a
on
couple
your
of
hair,
times
depends on
after
the
some
sessions, yeah.
couple of
Yes.
months you go again, and then eventually it starts going out less and less, and it's fewer and fewer hair, and then eventually it doesn't go out at all. Really.
Yeah.
Which I think you really need Jason for your back.
Well, me too enough to get work. You do that, then
Chest
you'll-
hair is manly, but bro.
How does it much
I'm already
does it
handling
hurt
this.
getting your back?
How much does it hurt?
Yeah, does it hurt?
No.
No, it's
No.
it's uncomfortable.
What hurts the most is this, like top chest,
Okay.
and also your stomach.
Oh yeah.
Stomach.
Chest hair
Really?
chest hair tends to be really deep rooted.
Yeah,
Ooh.
and also the top
Yeah.
part is because your skin is really thin up
Yeah.
here, so yeah, it
Ah.
hurts like a motherfucker.
The more you know.
I've never.
I've done both.
You've had your
I've
legs waxed.
waxed it and
Yeah.
I've done the laser thing.
I have had my legs waxed, but I don't think anywhere near as bad as chest or back or anything.
No, I
like
would
that.
never do chest.
I've
back,
heard
back
Legs
isn't
was
bad.
well.
when I did like the laser thing, laser hair removal, last time, the girl was telling me about a guy came and did that to his beard,
No.
and she was like, he was completely fine the whole time because that should hurt like incredibly.
Well, he's obviously a psychopath to get rid of his facial hair in the first place. Why would you not want the option? Just fucking shave, mate.
Yeah,
It's a bit much for a face.
It's like just the one thing you look at every day in the mirror. You can take care of it. Just get the fucking razor out.
Yeah,
Give it
then
a.
you
yes. First, he only wanted to do
Yes.
like the neck area, and then when it was going fine, he was like, yeah, just do the whole thing.
Really?
Huh.
Damn. Okay. Interesting.
I know, man. That's wild for me, and I also think, Chad, I understand why you're furious, and you should be because
I'm up in arms. I've never been more mad.
you have guys who are like, willingly taking their hair away, and you're trying
Oh
to
shit! I
find
didn't
more
know
of
where
it.
this was going. Yeah. Well, I was going to pick up the hair from the floor today and just try and glue a bit more of it to my head because there's so many people in the barber shop down there today, in the player lounge.
Free
I thought,
donations.
maybe
Yep.
get a bit more. But in terms of hurting ourselves on purpose for beauty purposes,
Right.
I have to microneedle my head now.
Yeah, that's great. Every day.
No, twice a week.
Okay, so when I
Wait,
last
for the
went
rest of your life?
I don't have to do it. But if I
But
wanted,
it's advised to do it for the rest
if
of
I
your
want
life.
the best
twice a week.
results.
is this
Wait,
just a
forever?
replacement for cream? You were using cream.
No, I still put shit in there every day. I still have to put chemicals in
Why?
it.
There's needles.
There's another thing.
Mate, if I'm paying for a surgery, I better just fix
Oh,
the
come
problem.
on, man.
Like LASIK.
Yeah. I got LASIK. I don't ever have to do shit with my
When
eyes
they
ever
can
again.
when they
It's great.
can grow artificial hairs, eventually it'll probably be possible. But because they have to transplant hairs from the back of my head and relocate them up to the top deck, that's where we're gonna run out of hair at the back, Jason. We need artificial hair. We need to be able to grow it in the lab. We need to be able to grow that shit in the lab, Jason.
Can I watch you do this one
This
day?
a pitch
What do you
or-
mean? What do you have to do for these? I'm imagining you sticking like a divisive needle.
Do you want to see the device?
Almost like a
I get the device.
I do want to see it.
Let me get the device. Let me get out this web of.
Get Jason another beer, man.
Yeah, Jason, you want another bit?
No, I'm on. No, I'm doing this. You do yourself a beer.
Is that a
That
segue?
doesn't work.
Yeah. One beer, bond. One beer.
You can't go with the traditional.
Well,
That's the problem.
this really is going to be. There's so many cables around, Chad.
Well, I guess the question now would be, we touched on this team earlier, but I've been itching. Well, I didn't know how long it was going to take you. I thought I'd, initiate a conversation instead of sitting here in silence while we wait
Use
for you
it.
to get your needling device.
It looks like a way.
Take a big puff on that. See how it tastes.
There are needles in this.
Do it to your head, see.
Multiple?
This is creepy. Yeah, there's like 10 needles in
No, I hate that. Like,
What kind of one?
ooh.
You don't like needles?
Nope, don't like that. I faint at the sight of blood. See blood? I'm gone. Yeah.
Ah!
Most useless person to have in a.
This is wet for something.
Wet? No, it's alcohol. It was alcohol.
Sterilizer device.
Because I got to sterilize it.
God, I didn't think about
Yeah, and
Ooh.
I'm only at 1 millimeter right now. I have to get up to being able to go 1.5 millimeters into my scalp.
All right, let's not make Freya frame. Freya.
Sorry.
Have you ever considered
Brains.
tattoos?
No, I had this conversation with Lorbit recently because obviously he's a man with a lot of
With
tattoos.
tattoos.
Jason's addicted
I'm
now
not
as well.
against.
I am addicted.
No, yeah, you started a Malta.
Yeah.
It's.
I know. I'm already thinking. I gotta finish.
I changed my mind too much, so I really need to have something. I'm like, yeah, I'm happy with it. I don't. So I'm not against them, but I just
The right one.
think.
I have a question for you, building off of your question, Trey. Going.
Okay.
Choo. Talking about the tattoos that you have here on your body, did it start with something meaningful, and do all tattoos have it?
Was it the end
No,
of-
because some people like it to look.
No, I think there's I mean, they're all meaningful, but this was like the most meaningful one for the first one.
Sure.
But I think anyone who gets multiple tattoos, there comes a point.
Well, they can see it on his Instagram or some shit. Or his thread. Jason's
Or on
huge
broadcast.
on
I'm on camera for the next 2
Jason's
weeks.
huge on thread.
Massive. From the building.
Yeah, but what about X?
X.
Don't give it to you. He don't.
But I think once you get like a certain amount of like tattoos, I think at a certain point, like you realize you don't have to make them all like meaningful, and you can just kind of exist.
But that's what I was hoping to find.
And I'm at the point now with these three where I no longer need them to have like some kind of meaning.
Okay. The
call me the bald eagle for 10 years.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
How do you feel
Never
about?
heard that one.
How do you feel about
That's how you call
Liege
yourself?
maybe taking the lead?
No, so Elige, I had the conversation today with Elige. We ran into each other. He doesn't.
That was the first
Yeah. Don't ever try and take that away from me. Fuck.
bitch.
Yeah, I'll wreck you. You're in my world now. No, he doesn't like shave his head. He just takes like a. He does like the clippers. So he doesn't actually go like razor. to
Oh,
the
he's
skin.
not a skin.
That is-
What
Okay.
clip?
Like, you know, like
Big
electric
difference, big
clippers,
difference.
like you
Ah,
can
okay.
like do it and it's like a really close trim scale.
Is that
I
like when you get
I started doing it
braids?
too.
Yes, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Okay, but you don't do that.
Jason uses
No,
a razor.
I use a
Can
razor.
you use that for this?
The electric?
Yeah.
Yeah, cool. I use it for that.
But the difference
You
is
say it's tough.
Elite has fair hair.
Yeah. So he looks very bald.
So what you're saying is technically he is not bald. Is that what you're saying?
No, I'm not gonna gatekeep being bald.
I just wanted to check you because I wasn't sure if you were bringing that up as a reason why you get to retain the bald eagle.
Yeah. Well, look, I'm not gonna gatekeep it. I'm still gonna call him bald, but no, he can't have bald.
So they're not as bald eagle.
You're not gatekeeping being bald, you're gatekeeping being bald eagle.
Yeah, exactly. There's a difference.
Okay. Anyway,
Back
fair
to your
enough.
tattoos, because I know the story behind number one, number two.
So this is my family crest.
Yeah.
What's
Uh,
number 3?
This is the bald eagle, and then obviously the Counter-Strike logo.
But they just have a new one for CS2, so you better get a new because he's now slanted forward.
That's okay.
I mean, you've got 4 fingers.
We all get it, you know.
Freddy Four Fingers.
Freddy 4 fingers. Bring him back next season of EPL.
That is on my tattoo list. 2 more fingers, hand, and just
Oh, so just that arm. And this arm.
it's in my mindset that I just want to do like this arm of tattoos.
And
But
it might spread through others.
I'm really mentally trying to keep it contained to this arm. Launders yesterday was like, you got to do this arm now. I was like, yeah, that's a good idea. And then I fought that bad boy back.
Do you have any tattoos, Yanko?
Never will. I think they'll, for one, not really look good on me because I'm super pale. But also, I don't really. It's not my thing to get a tattoo because it looks nice. You know, to get like a sleeve because it looks sick. I know it looks really good on some people. I don't know. But and you know, then there's also like I don't really, you know, something that I maybe believe in or a great coach quote that I want to, you know. Tattoo.
Yeah, that was a
Cat's
funny.
eyes.
That was a funny joke.
No, but I
There
mean,
is
no.
Probably Trey's down tomorrow.
Yeah. No, but like, it's like even if I really believe something, it's like I don't need to tattoo that on my body to like, you know. So why? So then someone sees it and asks me, oh, what does this mean, or why do you have it? And that's a way for me to tell them like that. I don't know. I don't have anything against it. Like kind of, you know, just not my. Really,
Basically, ESL are now not only banning Crocs because of Yanko, they're banning tattoos. Everybody with tattoos is now banned.
He was also behind the hat band.
He was the hat ban. It was the short ban.
no, that was just like anyone who was against SK at the time.
That's
It was a big thing for Taco and for other guys.
Don't revisit this.
Taco's
Jason.
power came from the hat.
Yes.
To get back to the
Should we talk about the counter?
because this was a question that I was going to ask when you went to get your needle thing that I've been thinking about for a lot of this. I guess my question would be how high do we think this Cloud9 roster? We talked about this I think, a little bit last time. So are we all excited? Like we're all excited to see this lineup work. Do we think it's going to be the solution?
I don't know, but that right there, Jason, is an ad for a marijuana commercial. How high on Cloud9 are you?
I've been saying we should get a beat song for a while.
But let's talk about. Look, I will gladly overrate.
Illegal in my country, of course.
I will gladly overrate them immediately. I'll gladly just go and say that like they should be
Top 3.
not. Well, I would say that I would like to see them make playoffs.
Yeah.
I would like to see them make playoffs. I think they are, for my money, looking at the teams at the moment, and obviously I understand how heavily I am overrating them right now, and that I know the Counter-Strike teams coming together are going to need time. Everything that we said about all these other teams, I could still apply all that to Cloud9, but I just think the caliber of player on that team, the fact that they don't have to change to the main language,
They should be taken off.
I feel that they have the best runway, clearest conditions. Then no one get in the way and delaying
It
their
was
flight.
certainly the most exciting and best one.
Yes.
100%. But that means we are obviously overvalued. We think we're already best of the best. We want the best result. But I think a playoff.
Echo looks like he's going to spit some bars.
Yeah, he does look
Tell
like
us
he's ready.
straight facts.
No, I want to hear what you think first.
I'm solid. I think the Cloud9 ridiculous hunger
Oh, 100%.
to get back on top where
Yeah.
they should have been, what they should have achieved. And I think Electronic is kind of the man to do it. Oh, okay. Do you think Electronic should be in game leader? I say no.
No.
Straight out of the bat.
No,
I
no,
don't know.
no. I think they should have kept Napoli and had him. Yeah, I mean, probably Hobbit doesn't want to do it because then they would have made the change earlier and not kept Napoli when they changed Inters for Buster and would have had Hobbit in game lead then, right? Like, but here's the problem: it's like also like outside, looking fully from the outside. That would make sense, right? Naphan, you have an aggressive Viper, he in game leads, Electronic in secondary call, you have Shiro who does calling as well, you can see how it all works, but probably not when you take into account the relationships, and not the relationships, but the something must have soured within that team with Nafani and the rest of the core, because he even said in interviews that he wants some change. So in the end, it was between him and Hop. That one was going to be removed alongside Buster, right? And the team picked Hobbit over him. And from the outside, that doesn't make too much sense unless Hobbit can really still deliver individually. Like if
So
he
you
can
don't
play,
think he can?
what?
Well, do you think he can or do you think he can't? Because for
No.
me, for you to think they keep Nafany, it probably feels like you don't think he can.
I don't think he can. I think also now you have Electronic in-game leader for one. For two, he's probably going to have to play in the pack, right? And I said this on the Snake and Banter thing with Duncan and Maui. Why I said I picked that they have this good, bad, ugly theme.
Yeah.
And I said the bad, I said Nafani being removed over Hobbit.
How did Maui feel about that?
He was...
I bet he had a
No,
great time.
he understood. Like he
Yeah.
had actually a good response to it. I said it like this is not a bad thing, like a bad change, but I think the change was as good as it could have been, because something that people overlook a lot is this part of it, where if you had Nafani as the in-game leader, then your pack can be Team Perfecto and Shiro, and then you have on the extremities of the map on T side Electronic and Exile. You know how much this changes the game for the opponent? When you're playing CT side, you know the two guys who are putting like 1v1 pressure are Exile and Electronic. Like, who are the
Puts a lot of
who are
pressure on
who are
your
the small
anchors.
side tankers on most sides?
Yeah.
The worst
Yeah,
player.
in-game leaders usually.
In-game
Yeah,
leaders
yeah, yeah.
usually. So if you have a Exile, which you had before even, right? Like you had Exile versus Kerrigan, Exile versus
Yeah.
Hooksy, Exile versus whoever, right? And then you would be like, yeah, Monesi is probably gonna be in kitchen at some point, or some guy's gonna be outside window towards CT spawn holding the vent instead of going to A because, well, they, or whatever, right? And you could do that because, well, if Exile was there, then, Buster was, or, Hobbit, who was supposed to be scary but not really, was on the other side, and, but if you have that, then, well, holy shit, like, fucking Electronic versus JKS, that's a 50-50 at
Yeah.
best, it feels like, and that's with, I feel like Electronic is more consistent than Justin, but whatever, you get my point,
Sure.
right? Like, that would give you more options, and it would make you more scary just in a
You'd have so many
macro
more
sense,
advantage
in the setup sense, right? Because Counter-Strike right now is becoming a little bit like the NFL in a sense of you're trying to find matchups and mismatches, right? Like you're just trying to create mismatches, sometimes with numbers, like having more numbers than your opponent on one side, but sometimes just creating a 1v1 mismatch where like your guy is better than their guy, and you're willing to put your round in the hands of your player winning that one duel, which I think you guys all agree with me that that's fine, but you have people who don't like to play that way, and they'll say,